I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching the series finale of Nekomonogatari. I'm excited. It's been a short series, 4 episodes. I think we have a rough idea of what is going to happen, but that doesn't matter because we get to see it happen. I'm excited.
I am also excited. We kind of have this solidified idea of what our feelings toward Hanekawa are going into this episode. Aragi has this resolve that how he feels about her is beyond kind of the scope of just love, the word love. It goes into the territory of like willingness to die for someone.
Yeah. I think that last episode might have been one of my favorite examples of severity and tone that Monogatari has ever taken in terms of going into Hanekawa's house, and God, just all praise in how they handled it, and I'm excited to finish this off. Are you ready?
Yep.
Sweet. Explains it. It'll be hard to say goodbye to this OP.
I just bought the best thing ever. Look at it. Look at it. I was like, where is he going? Is something wrong? Is there like a fire and I don't know about it? This was the fire.
I was stupid. I'm an idiot. Should have had it beforehand.
This beautiful figure that I'm so excited by. I don't want to know the future of my love just yet. We know the future.
Yeah, we do.
Come on, Shinobu. Please help us out.
Oh!
How dare you come here and ask without bringing donuts?
Kiss shot. Heart under blade. Heart span. Oh my God.
Oh!
How did that go?
I don't want to hear anything from them, to be honest.
I want to know Oshina's take.
I have chills. Revolting.
Yeah, so interesting.
Who's easier to agree with?
Wow. Wow. Oh.
同情なんかするもんか。不幸な女子なんて燃えるだけだろう。僕はただ欲求不満を解消したいだけなんだ。
Unlucky women.
I'm so excited.
怪異のみを殺すための羽川自身には何ら傷を負わすことなく触り猫だけを退治する。
専門家として言うことはもうないけれど、しかし友達として荒木君のベースと
It's your best friend.
忠告しておきたいことはあるかな。
忠告なんだよ。
まず一つ、確かにその刀を使えば触り猫に引導を渡すにあたってはベストアイディアに見えるよ。ベストアイディアに見えるからこそ委員長ちゃんにしてみればそれは最も警戒している真っ先に考慮に入れてもう対策を打ってるんじゃないのかい。
可能性の話をすればそれについては確信がある。多分うまくいくよ。僕には僕で策があるさ。
策？
いや期待だよ。
More of a hope.
ここは信用しようか。荒木君がそれでいい。
I love their relationship.
You know what I wouldn't expect? Shinobu to actually get involved. That would be the unexpected from maybe
Scratch the second
Hanekawa.
one. There's no point in even mentioning it.
Straight to the third.
星野がしようとした大体予想がついていた。
最後の一つ、これが一番重要で、しかも実際この町のどこに潜んでいるかもわからない委員長ちゃんを。
それについてはただの期待や希望的観測じゃない、ちゃんとした策が手数はかけさせねえよ。ここから先は別行動といこうぜ。
Wow.
I love. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. The sword is so long.
やり方かい。
ああ、これもお前にはできない。ウルトラ C ってやつだ。
Oh no.
だったらお手並み拝見だ。修羅場を演じるにせよ、終端場を演じるにせよ、邪魔をするつもりは一切ないさ。
Red.
騙されちゃったんだ、私。
Wow. Knew she'd come.
そうだよ。
Oh my god.
触り猫。たったの30分でのお出ましとは恐れ入ったぜ。
だよ、荒木くん。嘘をついて人を心配させていけないんだ。人が怒ってるのに何がおかしいのよ。
だって言葉遣いが乱れてるぜ。羽川。
Yeah.
どうしたよ優等生。語尾にニャーニャーひっつけるのが触り猫のキャラ設定だ。
なんだ。いや、にゃーんだかな。まあいいや。え、あれ？
最初から
The eyes even have changed.
僕はお前の友達なんだぜ。だから見誤るわけがない。わからないはずがない。
Wow.
怪異に取りつかれようが怪異を取り替えはお前のままなんだよ羽川。人格が変わったくらいで性
The
格
character won't.
それがお前だ。お前自身だ。友達からヘルプを求めるメールが来れば
Righteousness.
どんな状況だろうとどんな戦況だろうとおっとり刀で駆けつけてしまう。それがお前なんだよ。
これが私ね。
そうだよ。嘘をついた僕に怒ってる反面実はホッとしてるだろ。胸をなで下ろしてるだろ。すげえ優しいしすげえ強いよ。優しすぎるし強すぎる。優しすぎるし怪異に魂売っちまうくらいに強すぎる。
Kind that it drags your life down.
それを
Overwhelm people.
わかんねえけどわかる。だけど羽川それがお前なんだよ。で一生生きていくんだよ。変われやしねえんだ。そういう性格に育っちまったんだからしょうがないだろう。文句言ってねえで頑張って付き合っていくしかないだろうが。
何を言ってるの荒木くん。無茶言わないでよ。私だってできることとできないことがあるんだよ。私だって人間なんだよ。
人間じゃねえだろうが。お前は怪異にその身を委ねた。今のお前が人間を名乗るな。
Oh.
荒木くん、私がどうしてこんなことになっちゃったのか知ってるくせにそれでも頑張れだなんて。荒木くんは私に同情してくれないの？
しねえよ。生みの母親は自殺しちまうしあっちこっちの家庭をたらい回しにされた挙句に絆を結ぶこともできず冷めた家庭で育ってこともあろうにそんなことが達成できちゃってとお前ついてないよな。運が悪いぜ。不幸すぎるけどさいいじゃねえかそれくらい。だからって辛い思いをしなきゃいけないわけじゃねえし恵まれないからって拗ねなきゃいけねえわけじゃねえ。元気でいいだろ。何事もなかったような顔をして家に帰って退院したお父さんとお母さんと 同じような生活を送ることになるんだ。一生お父さんともお母さんとも和解できねえ。僕が保証する。万が一将来幸せになっても無駄だぞ。忘れた頃に思い出す。一生夢に見る。僕たちは一生悪夢を見続ける。
Wow.
現実は何も変わらねえよ。
変わらない。
僕はお前に絶対に同情しないぞ。猫を理由にするな。怪異を口実にするな。
Don't make an oddity your excuse.
そんなことをしても結局
You're basically
Oh.
そうなもんじゃねえか。
It's your responsibility.
本当はいないんだぜ。それこそ嘘なんだ。僕が全部引き受けてやるよ。お前の胸をいつだって触りまくってやるし。だからそれで我慢しとけ。いくらでも時間を作るよ。友達だからな。
ほんと荒木くんって最低。頭が痛くなる。ヒーローにはなれないよね。
スターにもなれねえよ。僕がなれるのは吸血鬼だけだ。
I even failed at becoming one though.
なってくれないんだ。私のヒーロー
You won't play hero for me.
荒木くんって本当は私のこと嫌いなんでしょ。
ああ、羽川のことが大嫌いなんだからね。
そう、荒木くんのこと大嫌いなんだからね。死んじゃえ、死んじゃえ、死んじゃえ。
Oh.
死んじゃえ、死んじゃえ、死んじゃえ、死んじゃえ、死んじゃえ、死んじゃえ、死んじゃえ、死んじゃえ、死んじゃえ、死んじゃえ、死んじゃえ、死んじゃえ。私に会って死んじゃえ。にゃ荒木くんが私のストレスは全部。じゃあ殺してもいいのかにゃ。
いいよ、本望だ。僕はお前に殺されて死にたい。
そうだったら死んでね。
Oh. Doesn't hurt you.
お前ではなく、お前の体に埋まった触り猫だけを切った。
そんなデタラメな刀があるだなんて。
ああ、知らなかったの。専門家の押野だってあいつがこんなぶっ飛びな刀を持っていることついさっきまで知らなかったんだぜ。
Even though Hanakawa had some knowledge,
刀というわ。
if Oshino even just learned.
星野さんも知らないような。
もしもこんなキラーアイテムの存在を知っていたなら、お前はこんな手には絶対引っかからなかっただろうな。安心したぜ、羽川。お前だって何でも知ってるわけじゃないんだな。私なんて死んじゃえとか言ってんじゃねえよ。お前だって知らないことまだまだいっぱいあんじゃねえか。だったら何でもは知らないわよ。知ってることだけっていつもみたいにそう言ってくれよ。僕は死ぬ。羽川に殺されて死ぬ。羽川のために死ぬ。たくよ、なんて幸せなんだ。自分が非常に道化じみた真似をしていることは分かっている。怪異殺しを使えば確かに触り猫は退治できるけど、羽川の抱えるストレスが克服できるわけではないし、家庭の不和がなくなるわけでもない。こんな解決でいいのなら、押野は多分最初の1回で決着をつけた。
Wow.
さっき押野が言いかけた2つ目の忠告とやらはきっとそういうことだったのだろう。無意味で無駄でもお前のために死にたい。それだけなんだ。
Oh, what?
妖刀によって羽川と触り猫が分離されたことで統合に不具合を起こしている。お前が羽川のためにあれこれ手を焼いてくれたのは、羽川が路上で死んでいたお前に対して全く同情しなかったからじゃねえか。僕の時もそうだった。吸血鬼に襲われ人間ではなくなってしまった僕に対しても羽川は決 決して哀れんで見下したりしなかった。対等に見てくれていた。僕たちはかわいそうなんかじゃねえよな。お前もそんな羽川のことが好きになっちゃったんだよな。だからそんな風に羽川を襲うのはよせ。やめろ、やめてくれ、やめてください。
アホかこの重木は。乱暴な電源の切り方をしたらマシンが傷むのはわしの自慢の名刀を無茶な使い方しよう。とんだ怪異の息づくりじゃわい。笑ってしまうわ。
Oh my god.
Healing him.
Closer she is. Wow. Even the shoes.
What's in front of you? Yep.
This is so great after Nisei. Oh! Wow.
さて、これでは撫でられない。
ああ、それ、吸血鬼ちゃんにねだられてさ。まあ結局、猫のことは彼女が全部解決してくれたようなものだから。
That's very fair.
ところで星野、羽川のことだけど、大丈夫なんだろうな。
委員長ちゃんはこのゴールデンウィークのことは何も覚えちゃいないよ。ブラック羽川としての記憶は完全に失っている。
ブラック羽川？なんだそりゃ。
あの状態の委員長ちゃんのことさ。あれを触り猫と呼ぶのは少し違うからね。新種の名前が必要だ。
New variations need new names.
ブラック羽川。
A new
Oh my
monster.
god.
だけどすぐに戻った。委員長ちゃん自身が強く願って自分から離れかけていた猫を引き戻し、さらには取り込んだというのが正しいのかな。その瞬間、新怪異ブラック羽川
The cat was leaving.
That was the moment a new oddity was born. I couldn't even die for Hanekawa.
羽川はずっと家族という名のよ、疲れてたようなもんじゃねえのかな。
家族ね。
羽川にとっては家族ってずっと怪異だったんじゃないのかな。
結婚しちゃえばいいじゃん。
は？
いやだから、荒木くんが委員長ちゃんと結婚しちゃえばいいじゃん。そうすれば委員長ちゃんにはずっと手に入らなかった家族を持つことができるじゃないか。
悪い冗談だぞ、星野。
春休みに委員長ちゃんから手を差し伸べられた恩返しとしては妥当な取引だとは思うけどね。
We've made jokes like that to Kanbaru.
そりゃあるだろう。気持ちがあるから見せられるのさ。被害者にも加害者にもなる。怪異にもなる。
She can be bewitched.
だけど荒木くんの気持ちってのもあるんじゃないのかい。僕はてっきり荒木くんは委員長ちゃんに恋しちゃってるんじゃないかと思ってたけれど。
バカ言うなよ。僕は羽川に恋しちゃってねえよ。
そうかい。
そういうことにしておこう。それが一番幸せだ。
人は一人で勝手に助かるだけなんだしさ。
それに羽川は助けなんて求めてないしな。僕に求めてくれちゃったらよかったのに。
Not even looking
羽
for
川が頼
help.
ってくれたら僕は何でもしたのに。
助けてって言わなきゃ助けを求めたことにならないわけでもないだろう。好きって言わなきゃ好きってことにならないわけでもないように。軽はずみに言えない言葉は誰にだってあるよね、荒木くん。
いつも通り笑ってくれる羽川にいつも通りに笑い返せると確信している。だって僕は羽川のことを好きでも何でもないんだから。 あいつのことを好きだなんて一生言うことはないんだから。
羽川さん。
僕はいつかお前以外の誰かを好きになるだろう。
I want to cry.
I'm like about to
生まれ
cry.
て初めて好きになる。人を思いやる気持ちをお前から教えてもらった僕には、お前以外の誰かと恋に落ちる日がきっと来る。だけど僕はお前が忘れてしまったこの黄金色に輝い
The 9 days that you forgot.
たとえこの先どんな未来が待ち受けていようとも、どんな将来を迎えようと、お前に対して抱いたこの気持ちは決して変わらず、なかったことにはならないのだから。そんなわけでこんな風に高校3年生のゴールデンウィーク、18歳の5月、荒木小弓の初恋ではない何かを失恋した。僕は階段を
Oh, listen.
Thus I climb these stairs.
Do 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 do. Just that's all I need. Just give me the do 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 do, and I will lose my mind every fucking time. Okay, that was Nekomonogatari, episode 4, the finale of Nekomonogatari. I love this series so much.
Every new thing that we get from it just makes me love it more. I feel like I'm unpacking it more and more.
I just for what it does as viewers and lovers of fiction and fictional characters, I think that there's a tendency that's very easy to relate to or grasp onto nowadays, that while reading or observing fiction and the writing within it, it's very easy to equate it to how you would be feeling in the moment and the morality that exists within you as a person. And the way that Monogatari is able to flesh out individual characters and pry them away from a very easy to bottle up and categorize, the ability that Monogatari has to pry a character away from that and make them their own individual, unique issue and character and person so that you can dissect it is just on another level. I think that I had been wanting it the past couple episodes. Oshino's perspective and what his view of everything that happened to Hanekawa was, and what his interpretation was everything of everything, and what that would be. We get everything from Kaiki in Nisemonogatari and from Yozuru about where all three of them stand and who Oshino is as that middle ground, as that mediator, as that observer. And
The balancer.
nothing has ever been shown within Monogatari, in my opinion, that is a stronger representation of that than in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I think that his dissection of Hanekawa has got to be one of the most fascinating things that I've seen in the series. It's very, very easy for me to be like, fuck you, her dad hit her, fuck you, death, die. But when you break it down, because like, we're not talking about, he makes it very clear, Oshino makes it very clear that we're not talking about just domestic violence as a blanket in a hole. He's not saying that anybody who is abused by their father should be treated or talked about the way that Hanekawa was here. Hanekawa's response to her father. Hanekawa is in a very unique position. Hanekawa doesn't reach for help. Hanekawa doesn't go out of her way. She has a responsibility to do something and she doesn't. Therefore, her situation is inherently unique and she has to have blame on herself as well.
Doesn't he bring up somewhat of like an awareness factor?
Yeah.
Like, isn't she aware of the overwhelming talent she has on the effect she has on other people?
Mm-hmm.
And isn't she aware that what she would say back to her parents would be seen as really off-putting, scary, creepy, I think is one of the words that he uses. And I think that question of awareness is a good one to bring up about Hanekawa. Like, how much is she actually aware of? She's pretty smart. She knows a lot. There's also the question that I think that could go in tandem with that. Aragi brings up that she's hurting herself. Is she actively hurting herself by, though that she's aware of something, she's still living by this righteous nature that is true to who she is, even if she's aware that it is off-putting to other people?
Yeah. I want to hammer it home that, like, what Oshino is doing and what I love about the series and love about Oshino, he isn't saying, I don't take it in the way of, no, it's understandable why they hit her. And it's like, whoa. We're not trying to fucking understand why the dad hit his fucking daughter, right?
Yeah.
No. I really feel like there's nuance, and that needs to be talked about because it's imperative to what the message is at the end of the day.
And also, no one's getting forgiven.
Yes.
There's not like, in his shoes, like, it's totally morally okay to do it.
They were trapped in a hell where they had their ugliness and their immaturity shoved into their faces every single day. An absolute nightmare.
He's saying for them it was a hell. So he's saying that in their
But
experience
who put them in that hell? And yes, it's the person who got hit, and that is wrong and fucked up, and that shouldn't have happened, but is the person who got hit knowing that they're going to do so, or knowing that that event will happen based off of their actions? Are they subconsciously, intentionally staying within the situation, even though that itself is a contradiction?
Are you intentionally doing this to continuously shove the ugliness back? I don't know. I think that Oshino has proved in this episode where he lies. Like, obviously, with, like, you already brought up with Nisei, we get Yozuru over here in this. She would probably find some faults in what he's saying here, and then there's Kaiki, who would definitely have some things about what Oshino is saying. But Oshino is taking this stance of, as he says, I am neutral.
Yeah, like, just to finish off my thought, like, and the context that I want to be given. If anything, I almost admire that they lasted all those years without hitting her. And I'm like, okay, yes, very easy to grasp onto and take one way, but listen to what's next. But no matter how you look at it, there's no way that this is Hanakawa's fault. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm with you. That would be the common, like, thought,
yeah,
right?
That's like Aragi saying.
But it was from Oshino, and then breaks it down with those with power must at all times be aware of their effect, of the effect their power has on those around them. It is, oh my god, as the flowers were around her, cursed bloomed.
It's funny that in this same conversation where he's saying, like, she is at fault here, and so are they, he's putting a really gross lens on them in terms of, like, bringing up, like, words like immaturity, you know? But then with her, he's almost giving, like, some flowers to the same degree. Like, he's saying that she has power. He's saying that there's something beautiful about her.
Everything about this current situation is irregular. Anything and everything about it is irregular, but misclass Rep's the only irregularity. Each and every single little thing is misclass Rep's fault. Like, I was trying to paraphrase it to start the discussion. It's incredibly specific and unique. It is not a blanket statement. It is, and it is so brilliant for it. I felt like I was hoping for something that would never come in wanting Oshino's breaking down and point of view of what happened. I'm just so happy that we got it.
It feels authentic to who he is. Like, even if, especially with the first things that he was saying, as a viewer, I was getting like, ooh, where's he going with some of the things he's saying here? But then as a whole, kind of like finishing the episode off, I would say not even just finishing the episode off, but once I saw the Aragi, though initially seemingly having our response to Oshino, then parrots some of the things that Oshino had said to him once he's confronted by Hanakawa. Once he's sent the message and Hanakawa arrives in front of him, he begins to parrot some of the things that Oshino said. And one of the things that I feel like was brought up both in the first episode and in this episode is that Aragi called what he viewed Hanakawa's kind of righteousness is, how she would respond to her parents after what happened, as revolting. he used that word in the first episode, that he was finding her and how she was acting revolting. And then in this episode, the word revolting is used again. And I don't think I've ever seen a scenario where revolting and righteousness have ever really been like so blatantly put on the same kind of like in the same sentence. But
like the first revolting is out of pity, no? Like, and like it's what's revolting? The sad fact that Hanekawa is downplaying and justifying abuse towards
justifying
her.
the abuse toward her,
But
yeah.
pity is the thing that comes full circle in episode 4.
I would totally agree with that. And why is pity bad? I feel like this episode, there's probably a lot of people, maybe not a lot of people, there probably were some people who were initially like, why is it bad to pity someone? You know, but then you have to break down, what are you actually doing?
It isn't
when
bad.
You pity someone.
It's irregular, it's a specific case, and in this specific instance, no, I don't pity you. Because you're wanting to be there. If you weren't wanting to be there,
you're currently hurting yourself. And we know, like, she is wanting to be there.
Here's how it goes down. Do you pity me? No. Why don't you pity me? Because you can get yourself out of that situation. Oh, can I? I don't think I can. No, you fucking know that you can get yourself out, and you're feigning ignorance right now because this entire thing has been worked up and part of the indestructible armor that your desire of being pity is building.
Mm-hmm. You're not going to be a hero for me?
Ugh.
I think one thing that I'd want to bring up before we leave the conversation of like such heavy righteousness in a character for what I would say is probably the character of Aragi and maybe even some other characters in the show. I feel like this series as a whole, Monogatari, likes to play and fuck with tropes to some degree. It likes to break the fourth wall down a little bit. And this reminded me of how viewers and how people actually handle and feel about protagonists or characters that are maybe incredibly righteous or ones that are a little more complex. I feel like you can't ever win a lot of the time. Like a character could come out and be the most beautiful soul in the world, a protagonist. Like I can think of examples in my head of protagonists that are hated by some people that have watched their show or read their content because of being a doormat or being too righteous or being too pure-hearted and not maybe having a bite to them or some more complex additions to their personality other than just being like this shiny light. And what that makes me think of is like, well, why are you hating on someone that is written to be this shiny light? Is it the same scenario of like you can't relate to it because you yourself don't feel like you're that righteous of a person? Like, why do people hate characters like that? But then I go and I think about characters that are written to have a little more of that dark in them, a little more of the ugliness of humanity, if you will, maybe more of the reality. Like they're not doing things as righteously. They're doing things, maybe it's self-satisfactory, maybe they're doing something with more selfish intent. And even characters like that, when they're given a little bit more of that selfishness, sometimes they're then even misread or hated on for being too selfish, and they're in a position where they should be the hero and they're the protagonist and they should be doing the right thing all the time, you know. But I feel like you never really win a lot of the time for like everyone to love either of those examples of a character. It's
what makes the series so great and the philosophical nature of it. You're shining a lens, you're just looking into a mirror and you're not afraid to stare at it and look at everything that people are scared to look at. The idea of I'm neutral is one of my favorite places you can come from because you ask all of the questions. And in I think series that you are alluding to, I don't even think I think you can. I think vagueness helps the argument of it because once you talk into specifics, you're talking about the reasons that it's so muddled in the first place.
Characters, it's like characters are often not, people can't handle them when they're too good and people can't handle them when they're not good enough, you know?
I feel like I am so glad that I got to see Araragi fail in an upward way because it like puts to bed Like, I was so afraid coming into the series, not for myself, but for you, in terms of, like, wanting Araragi and Hanekawa to be a thing. But, like, I am so glad that has been, like, put to bed for me, and it being... My interpretation is after Kizu, there was something that Araragi couldn't shake in terms of what he felt like he owed Hanekawa. Mm-hmm. And that masked itself as being in love. And I think that, yeah, sure, the conversation with Tsukiji helped, but when it came down to it, look what we tried to do. We fucking swallowed Heartspan, which is brilliant, and want to talk about that. But at the end of the day, we've uncovered what it was. Oshino is even like, you could marry her, you could give her family, but, like, we're over that. We understand what our feelings actually are now, and that, like, it just solidifies my confidence after Nisei and where we're going to be going forward after this.
I know that, like, my feelings, it wasn't that I thought that she was the right girl for Araragi. It was more that the idea of her feelings and wanting, as I would always want as a viewer, I want happiness for the characters I'm watching to some degree. I don't want them to feel unfulfilled or sad or lonely. I would want Hanekawa to have a family, like Oshino brings up in this episode. And as the line of, like, to her, family might even be an oddity in itself. Like, I would want that for her as a character. But it doesn't have to be Araragi. And what we can think about is that they both could have taught each other something here. And I'm going to say taught each other because I feel like Hanekawa, though she doesn't have memories of these 9 days, she is still going to continue her journey, as we've seen, with a friendship with Araragi and then a friendship with Senjigahara. And she's gaining so many more people within her life. Tsukiji and Karen, she's starting to have friendships with, we see. And so she's gaining something with just this friendship with Araragi alone that she had never had before. And so Araragi, even though he says that he's gained something in the very end of this, he's not the only one that's gained something here. He says that he's gained this sympathy that he could have toward other people. And this isn't necessarily like his first love, or he won't call it that, but it's definitely like a true maybe first friend for him. And it's going to definitely help in his future with love.
Yeah.
Especially if you think about where he started in the series before he met Hanekawa. You know, how he felt about people, friendships.
Start of Kizu, yeah.
Yeah, like she has definitely made it possible for him to fall in love with Senjigahara.
Yeah. I pulled up this absolute bombshell of dialogue. Of course I don't pity you. Don't use some cat as a pretext. Don't make an oddity your excuse. Don't use misfortune as a springboard to growth. At the end of the day, you're basically just hurting yourself. Like, chilling. Legitimately chilling. One of my favorite series of lines in this entire series.
I feel like this series as a whole is something that I would be so curious what a classroom of, like, psychology or philosophy students in a college would feel if they had to watch certain segments or break down certain dialogue, like, scenes within this show. Because I feel like there's so many things that upon immediate reaction, you're maybe so off-put by what it is that you wouldn't maybe try to read into it deeper or read into it on the level of, well, why is this character saying this and where do they stand in the scheme of things in the world? How do they feel about the world? How do they feel about philosophy? You know, who are they as a person that is making what they say come out of their mouth, and how should you actually interpret it? And how do you, as a viewer, should you even be looking at their dialogue through the lens of your own morality? Should you even be doing that, or should you just be taking the time to try to understand them and why they're saying what they're saying? Yeah. Instead of, like, judging it from your point of view.
I am trying to find the line that I paraphrased within my notes. What I wrote down is, Shinobu reminds us to turn off a computer before unplugging it. Okay. Everyone knows that forcibly pulling the plug tends to damage the hardware, servant of mine. Amazing. Great.
I mean, the whole like visuals that you get with this line delivery, she's like standing on his shoulders. I feel like the choreography, the way that we are situated in this scene upon its start is amazing. The being on the shoulders, ripping off the arm, the blood just dripping down like a shower. It makes me, oh my god, you know what it literally is? It's when Hanakawa ripped off his arm and there's like she's like in a shower, you know?
Yeah.
It's that like that was probably episode 1. And so that is an amazing like visual bringing back. Obviously, like seeing blood showers isn't like the most fun thing ever to visualize, but it is cool to bring it back as an idea.
Just like Heartspan. Fucking awesome. So cool. I love that. I love Aragi's plan. I love it. Doing exactly what Shinobu did, but just kill me.
He was
Kill
like,
me.
I was like a magician.
Yeah.
I swallowed the sword. I think that something else about this scene that I'd want to bring up is going into this episode, I had a preconceived idea of what it was going to look like.
As did I.
What the environment was going to look like, how it was going to play out.
We're fools.
But, well, it played out how it does. It
Idiots.
just was like the environment was slightly different and there was some like pretense. There was some things before what we had seen in the flashback that take place. Like, once I saw Aragi take Heartspan, the sword, I was like, wait, that's not in the flashback. Like, what's going on here? Is this going to be like a multiverse? Like, this is another universe? This is another way the events play out? Are we retconning it? Are we changing things up? But really, what we get at the very end of it all is that Aragi is in somewhat of a corridor-shaped room, just like the alleyway somewhat that it seemed like they were in the flashback. He is facing Hanakawa, Black Hanakawa, if you will. Shinobu shows up, jumps on her, and energy drains. That is the end of things in the flashback, and that is technically the end of things here.
You and I are used to stories that want to tell me a prequel after the fact, coming up with bullshit retcons and excuses, but no, this is Monogatari. There's consistently amazing reasons and perspectives added from going back, and it is amazing.
I feel like I grow... You know, this is gonna sound really silly because there's so many like moments in the show that are just really goofy, like especially with Aragi's character in particular. It sounds funny or silly that the show makes me think a little bit deeper about stuff.
Just not like silly.
But just, well, like when you think about it in partnership with a character that's often doing things like, I'm gonna grab your boobs, like you know, when you put it in the
no, I get you.
If I said it to someone who at face value only saw kind of some of the moments maybe Aragi had with certain characters in the show, like Hachikuji interactions, and I was to say this show makes me think deeper about stuff, they would be like, what?
Dude, I think that I almost lost my mind in Nisei on the toothbrush episode, thinking about like how deep do I need to think about intention here, and at what point am I overthinking? And I think that the more I think about aspects of this show, the more I'm rewarded. There's the possibility that, yes, I have bipolar disorder. I might be making shit up. Voices are talking in my head and I might be delusional, but I'm enjoying myself watching Monogatari, that's for sure.
See, I don't have bipolar disorder and I'm also enjoying myself. So, yeah.
It's contagious, it's an oddity, or we're right. Or we're wrong. Going forward, right? So, after Nekomonogatari, I believe, I could be wrong, apologies, we will be watching Monogatari second season.
Monogatari second, like just Monogatari?
Monogatari second season. Again, I could be wrong, but if that is the case, the only thing that gives me is the idea that we're not going back and it's going to be new content going forward. Like present, chronologically.
That's exactly what it gives me, because what it tells me is that everything that we've witnessed
was Monogatari season 1. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yep. So
especially if you like open the debate of what was the watch order and what was the release order, like.
God, it'll be so fascinating once we're finished with everything to know what it was, because
Because that would mean that everything that was in the season 1 umbrella, that's where the debate lies, is what order to watch the season 1 umbrella in. That's what it would say
Possibly,
to me.
yeah, for sure. I mean, like, okay, let's recontextualize it. Then they'd want us to, you'd want to watch Kizu, then this, then Bake, then Nisei, right? I think that it's everybody's perspective once they watch something the way that they do for the first time, that it tends to stick with them that way and they prefer it that way. But God, it's so hard to imagine any other order to watch this with. It's you can make a similar argument to Steins Gate. When we watched that, without giving anything away, there was dispute about what order to watch something in. And it's hard not to think that I would prefer the way that I did watch it, but it's a reality that we'll never know, you know? You can never actually make an argument. Treat it like Oshino, you know?
All it can ever be is just debate fuel. And that's it.
WWOD, what would Oshino do? The answer, nothing. He'd just watch.
He's an observer. Almost like Shinobu's an observer until Aragi's on death's door and then she has to freaking get involved.
Fucking idiot.
We figure out how she gets her signature Bakemonogatari look at the very end here, which was one of my like retcon questions, which was like, why does she not have that? You know, was like one of my original thoughts when we've seen her in Nekomonogatari. I was like, timeline wise, she should totally have her like helmet. Why does she not have it?
The obvious answer, she didn't see it yet, then she wanted it, and then she deserved it. So
and
she got it.
Should get what she wants.
Yeah, it's perfect. Shinobu.
She has a donut. It's so cute.
Okay. That was 31 minutes, by the way. Before we started the discussion, like, another thing, it's hard to watch a show like this and go right into a discussion without being like having time to compose your thoughts.
So many complex.
And then you end up just,
how do you even begin to address domestic
it's so apologies but like for anything rushed, it is a bit difficult. But right before we started the discussion, we looked at the timer in front of us and we were like 30 minutes. Where did that come from? Okay, all right, you good?
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.